Morning. Honourable Louise Marcus, Councillor Rasmussen, Squad Leader Parr who's outside, Squad Leader Clark, ladies and gentlemen, but most importantly, the children. I'm Don Bartlett and my role here is Vice President of this Richmond RSL sub-branch. And might I say, it's a pleasure and an honour to be associated with this initiative today. Thank you for attending today's Military Kids Recognition Medallion presentation. And before I get too much further, I'd like to give a special thank you to Regal Video Productions, who are filming this event today for those who are unable to be here and see their children presented with their medallion. I would now like to invite Councillor Rasmussen up to say a few words.
Thank you for that, and I want to say how honoured and what a great pleasure it is for me to be participating in this ceremony. I want to recognise, acknowledge Louise Marcus, federal member from Macquarie, obviously mums and dads and little ones, big ones, little ones, yeah, they're all here, which is good to see, and of course Rachel, the driver behind this presentation. I'm some of you will know, I'm ex-Air Force, having spent almost 30 years base commander, so I have a bit of understanding of, and I've got 4 kids, and a bit of understanding of what this will mean to you, having spent many deployments and attachments and postings overseas and away from family. But look, this is, I think, a special occasion, because when I left the Air Force mid-94 from the base, and I had no idea that this was going on, or this was being done. I think it's a great idea. The lady up at Ipswich, I think, just forgotten her name now, but I think started it all, and Rachel rang me and said, would you like to participate? I said, I'll be more than delighted to be participating in this. Having had 4 little ones, and my wife complaining that, you know, it didn't matter what they were doing, you know, first steps, first word, first whatever, I was always somewhere else. I was never in the right place at home at the right time. And I can remember many times, you know, long distance call trying to tell my eldest boy, Roger, that, well, Dad, Mum says that the washing machine doesn't work. And I'm trying to figure out why it doesn't work. Well, tell me what it's doing. So long distance repair. Anyway, and most of the kids, mine did, and my friends as well, they help out Mum and Dad at home. They do help Mum and Dad out at home, and it's special. And I know that because my kids really did help with the mowing and the fixing and all the things that Dad was meant to do, but he wasn't at home. So that's good. And it is a strain. It certainly takes a lot of extra effort. And a lot of people who are not associated with the military don't understand those aspects of military family life. And I think it's probably I hope it's got a little bit better since I joined the Air Force way back in the early 60s. Because it was, you know, we had marriage allowance in those days, and as soon as someone got married, if you're a female, then boop, out you went. You know, I mean, they were the bad old days, honestly. Anyway, things have gone much further ahead than that. So, little ones, hope you're looking after Mum and Dad, depending on who's away, and helping Mum and Dad, and doing all the chores and doing the homework particularly. I won't bore you with that, but once upon a time I was a defence fellow, and I did a study on families and kids, the effects on Mum and Dad being away, and on the effects on schooling and so on. And it was really interesting to go in, that was across the Army, Navy, the Air Force, and it was really interesting to see what really drove and what didn't drive the kids' performance, because as you know, there's a lot of movement around. I think my wife tells me, or my friends, she tells my friends that we had 25 houses in 23 years. So there's a lot of moving, and a lot of packing, and a lot of unpacking, and a lot of schooling, and a lot of this and that and something else. And of course the kids can often rattle off the end if you're not very careful. But the important thing, mum's attitude, we found, and secondly, whether the kids were doing their homework. So if the kids did their homework, you're listening kids, do your homework and you'll do really well at school. My boys and my girl have done really well. So that was because mum made sure they did their homework. Anyway, kids, I want to bore you with this, and mums and dads, I'm sure I can talk to you about all this. It's a great honour to be here. It's a great honour to be part of this medallion ceremony. And kids, wear it with pride, because your mum or your dad, depending on who's away and who's out there fighting for the nation, looking after the nation for us, will be thinking of you when they're away. So thank you very much, and hope it all goes well. Well done.
Thanks, Councillor Rasmussen. I now invite the Honourable Louise Marcus up.
Well, good morning everybody. Can you hear me? Am I better off if I pick this up? I know it's taped.
Yes,
they've taped it. It's glued to the pole. Can I just acknowledge Paul Rasmussen? Paul has had a long association not just with the Defence Force, but also he worked very closely in leadership with this area. And isn't it wonderful to hear the noise? Yeah, it's great. And hello, good morning children. Give me a wave. Can you give me a wave? Hi. Are you excited? Yeah. You know, your mums and dads are pretty special, you think? Oh, are they? Yeah? Yeah. I'd like every child to stand up, or you could stand them on your lap or on the chair next to you. And we're all going to give you a round of applause. How special you are. Now, I don't know, just for the children here, what do you call your dad, Dad? And do you have grandparents? You call them Pop? Or Granddad? Yeah, well my dad and my Pop both served, and I remember, how it impacted my mother and her brothers and sisters, but mums and dads, you need two. You need one mum and one dad, or you need two parents. Let's put it that way. We're in the 21st century today. But sometimes, is it right? Who can tell me that sometimes mum's great at something and dad's not, and vice versa? Yeah? So sometimes you want to talk to dad or you want to talk to mum. It's a bit hard when they're not there, isn't it? Yay? Anybody want to say? Everybody waving? No? Who wants to tell me something that their dad's really good at? Eloise. Building. Wow. So that means, I suppose, if he's not around, does your mum have to figure out what to do? Yeah. And sometimes vice versa. But today is about saying how special each of the children are and how special the families are. Because even though I'm federal member and the government makes decisions about where our men and women that serve our nation go, the families are the ones that often have the day-to-day practical results. You have to deal with the day-to-day life of what that means. So I want to say that you're amazing. We really appreciate you, and it's a real honour for me to be here, to be able to give the children a little bit of acknowledgement to say how special you are and how much we thank you. So 3 cheers for you all.
Thank you, Louise. Now we come to the most important bit, the presentation of the medallions. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call out the names of the children, and if they could come up the front, and Councillor Rasmussen and Louise Marcus will present those medallions to the children. The first recipient is Amalia Erba. What a pretty name. Thank you, Amalia. And next is Caden Erber. Well done, Taylor. Daisy Lee. Where's Daisy? Here's Daisy. And then Joseph Lee. Oh, look at that smiling face.
There's yours. And then you can put this on your wall. Yeah. That's a good idea. You wish on that?
Oh, okay.
Show me your smile.
Amity Ludwig. Lara will be coming up shortly.
Heading for the door.
And then Lara Ludwig. Your turn, sweetie. And next we have Xavier Miller. And now Eloise Wilson. Smiling Eloise.
Eloise. Another one.
there'll be a group photo. Okay. Grace Wilson. Isabel Wilson. Thank you all. Smiling faces, good to see. I'd now like to invite Coordinator Clark up to say a few words.
I'd like to thank first of all, I'd like to thank the RSL sub-branch for assisting with this ceremony. I think it's pretty indicative of of where the RSL and the sub-branches are going in terms of supporting the younger generation of service personnel. Secondly, I'd like to thank the parents and the Richmond family group for organising this. I think it's a fantastic initiative and should continue on. The main reason we're here though is to thank the children. So for the kids, I can't imagine what it's like to spend significant periods of time without one of your parents at home. I imagine it's quite difficult with the amount of emotions that you go through, and I imagine it's quite difficult to actually express those emotions. For example, my daughter, when my wife's away for more than 2 weeks, she stops talking. So we all express it differently, and I know it's hard. What I do know is how thankful that we all are for your support while we're away. And when I say we, I mean the parents and the Australian Defence Force. We really can't do it without you, and your love and support makes all the difference when we're away. That support, how it's shown, whether it's from a photo that we get sent, a card, a care package, or even being dragged in front of a computer for a Skype session when you'd rather be doing absolutely anything else on earth. We do appreciate it. It absolutely makes our day, it makes our job bearable, and sometimes where it seems unbearable. So enjoy your medallions, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Coordinator Clark. I was just wondering if the families would like a group photograph with our guests at this stage before we wrap it up. Group photograph up the front here with. I won't keep you much longer, but just to wrap things up, on behalf of the Richmond RSL and the Defence Richmond Family Centre, thank you very much for attending today. It's been an enlightening experience for me. This is my first exposure to the children in this environment, but I look forward to many years to come. And I now invite you to join us up the back there for some morning tea. Thank you all.